What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. It's a video I have been promising for a couple of weeks now. I finally got to sit down, do it, edit it, get it all prepared and all pretty and all nice. Today I will be answering the questions that you guys sent me on my 5,000 subscribers video. I got some great questions. I'm excited to talk about them, so let's get into it. Question number 1. What movie characters do you wish you could be or do you relate to most? Well, my first answer for that, it's pretty easy. It's Captain America. I love the Marvel movies, and I love Steve Rogers and Chris Evans. I mean, the guy's awesome. Also, I would say Marty McFly, just because Back to the Future is an incredible movie focused on his story. I don't want the parent problems that he has, but I do want his amazing, incredible personality. But the one that I will leave you with is Ferris Bueller. I love that film, but more importantly, I love his attitude and the way he goes about things, the way he weasels himself in and out of situations. I love Ferris Bueller. Hey, it's a good question. A good one to start off with. What modern films do you view as having the potential to become classics in the future? Man. That's according on how modern we're talking. I'll keep it in the 2010 to 2000 and now range and say 100% Inception. Mad Max Fury Road. Blade Runner 2049, more of a cult classic, but definitely in that category. La La Land. For some reason, I'm thinking Get Out because people are still talking about that movie, and I feel like the more it has time to marinate, the more people are going to continue to think about it. In terms of comic book movies, Logan, and I know it just came out last week, but A Quiet Place. I feel like people are going to continue to look upon that and say, wow, what an incredible thing they did in terms of filmmaking and sound design. It's early, but I don't know. Any YouTubers inspire you to do movie reviews? Well, not the expert, you, because your channel's fantastic. I mean, you guys probably know Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, the Collider Crew, the Schmoes, John Campia. I mean, you guys know the big dogs, the ones that I aspire to be like, not aspire to be. But those are really kind of the guys that started it all. Oh, and Mr. Sunday Movies. I love that guy. Do Lover, I promise, man, the harder you work at creating your videos, I'm not even talking about doing them right now, like what I'm doing. This is the easy part. The hard part is the post-production. It's editing, it's putting time and effort and even money into what your videos look like, sound like. I mean, that for me is the most important part. It's do my videos look professional enough to put on YouTube? And I know YouTube doesn't have to be professional, but I want the best for you guys. I want the most aesthetically pleasing videos that you could possibly watch. And I know I mess up every now and then in my intros and my graphics and whatnot. I get really tired when I push out 3 or 4 videos a day. I lose it. But I think post-production is probably the most important part in terms of people coming back to your channel. But Do Lover, I promise you, man, if you keep at it and you put in the hard work, I promise you, you're going to pass that mark eventually, and you deserve it. This is a great question. A movie that everyone loves that I think is bad or even okay. Well, I have 2 for you. Number 1, I'm not going bad because I enjoyed this movie, but I didn't love The Witch as much as everyone else seemed to really enjoy it. Once again, I liked it. I gave it a 70, I believe, but everybody else is giving it like 9s and 10s. It just didn't hit that mark for me. And movies that I hate that a lot of other people seem to really like, You're Next and The Mist. 2 movies that I have always just absolutely hated that either have positive critic scores or audience scores that people really seem to like. I just don't like the movies. I don't get the hype. I never will. I get other people like them. I don't like them at all. Biggest disappointment in recent memory, that's an easy one. It's Batman v Superman. Now, I didn't hate Batman v Superman like some other people did. I thought it was okay, but the fact that it's the first time that we ever saw those 2 characters on screen, it's a movie I'd been waiting on way longer than I had been waiting on the Avengers. The fact that that was just okay was very disappointing. Ooh. And speaking of that question, Jason with a Y has a great question for me. He asks about my opinion on Zack Snyder. He thinks Watchmen is a great superhero movie, the greatest ever, and he actually has Batman v Superman in the top 5. Well, Jason, I do not have Batman v Superman in the top 5. Like I said, it was disappointing to me, probably one of the biggest disappointments I've ever seen, but that doesn't mean I thought it was a bad film. I gave it a slightly positive review, so you have to keep that in mind. In terms of Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead, I think those 2 are very good movies. I think Watchmen is a little underrated. It's not my top 10 or even my top 20 superhero movies, but it is up there, and I really enjoy it. Here's my thing about Zack Snyder. He has the visuals down. Where he struggles is the story. I don't think think he knows how to convert a good script into a great film, or vice versa, writing a script and turning it into a movie. He's got the visuals down, he's got the look of his movies down, and I just love looking at his films, just like 300. That is a great movie in my opinion. Now, in terms of the hate for Zack Snyder, I don't really get it. I like the majority of his films, and I think people just want to point fingers and look somewhere and say, hey, it's your fault, you're the one to blame. Now, in terms of Batman v Superman, I get it. I understand that because he's really the one that brought that to the big screen, but you have to look at his full resume, and for me, his full resume, there is more good than bad, but there is that bad in there that I think brings him down a little bit. I think the DC, well, superhero fans in general, I think they tend to go a little bit overboard when it comes to bashing directors, actors, screenwriters, whatever, so I don't think Zack Snyder's a bad director, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he's doing next. If I was a movie director, which 3 actors, actresses would I have as my leading roles? Wow, what a question. Now, these are not my favorites. These are the ones that I would want to cast in my movie. Okay, I will start off with a favorite, and that is Jim Carrey. I think he's dynamic. I don't think people understand that. He can do good, he can do bad, he can do comedy, he can do drama. I would have Jim Carrey as my lead role. Something in my brain is telling me to cast Anna Kendrick. So you know what? I've not seen out of her what I think she can bring us, so I'm going Jim Carrey and Anna Kendrick. And I'm going a little crazy with this one. I have not seen Evan Peters in enough films. He is great in what he does on television, and of course we love him as Quicksilver in the X-Men. I want Evan Peters, I want Jim Carrey, I want Anna Kendrick. Go figure. Now, this is a cool question. Have you ever walked out of a movie? I have, okay? And it's not one recently, but a long time ago, my family and I went and watched Norbit. And if y'all have ever seen Norbit, it is not a family film. I don't think my parents understood that. They took us in there because it was an Eddie Murphy movie. It ended up being a very raunchy and disgusting movie. And watching it now, I do not like the film, but watching it then with your family, it's really not a good movie to watch with your family, so they decided to leave the theater, and I'm like, you know what? This is awkward and embarrassing, and I was really young at the time, so I went with them. But now, even if a movie's horrible, I have Movie Pass, so it's not like I paid for the tickets, but I have this thing to where I have to finish a film. So even if a film is super boring, super disgusting, or super against what I believe in, I have to finish it so I can judge it accordingly, and more importantly, judge it correctly. So I don't think I'll ever be doing that again, but Norbit, yeah, that's my answer. Aaron asks, what is the most unpopular opinion that I have in film? Ugh. You know what? I said I would answer, and this is not something that I think is really like, oh my gosh, Austin, what are you doing? I'm gonna kick you off the internet. But I hate when movies are preachy, and I hate when people review movies and judge movies based on their social impact. Even this year, I can find some examples of films that have come out, and they're not very good, but people are giving them great reviews because of the impact that they have on this specific race or gender or whatever. Oh, but this movie came out at the wrong time. I'm going to give it a 0% and not even pay attention to if the film was actually good or not. I think that is so stupid. And even some reviewers that I personally love, I find them doing it more and more, and it bothers me. And I get it. If the social impact is there, yes, that is going to further my opinion on the film, but first and foremost, I pay attention to if the film was well constructed, if the acting's good, if the directing's good, and if it impacted me emotionally. I'm gonna leave it there. But that's probably the most unpopular opinion that I have in terms of what film critics will think of me if I ever tell them that to their face, because I find it happening more and more. Becca Crow, what's up, Becca? She asked me, how big are you on foreign films? Well, I enjoy I actually just reviewed a foreign film called Orbiter 9, which I kind of liked. There are a lot of movies that I like that are foreign films, and that doesn't really bother me. I don't mind reading captions. And what is my favorite old-time action movie predating the 2000s? Oh my goodness, what a question. I can't really go Terminator 2 because it's more of a sci-fi film, and then Aliens is also a sci-fi film. So I'm gonna pick the easy answer. It's Die Hard. I freaking love Die Hard. It's fantastic. Wait, did The Matrix come out in 1999? Somebody fact check that. If it was before 2000, then The Matrix, but if not, then it's Die Hard. Ninja Decimator asks me, I love your content, but what is my favorite cult classic movie of all time? Great question. Would you consider Beetlejuice a cult classic? Because that's definitely up there. I love Blade Runner. Ooh, I love Pulp Fiction. That was a great thing to throw in there because that might just be my answer. I mean, one could say Monty Python is a cult classic. Somebody else could say Fight Club. Pulp Fiction. Brian, who is always awesome at commenting on my videos, says, excluding superhero or comic book movies, if I could only watch one genre for the rest of my life, what would it be? You know me too well, Brian. I definitely would have said superhero movies, but if I had to take that out of the equation, I'll go sci-fi. I love a good sci-fi film, even if it doesn't have anything to do with aliens. Like, I consider Inception a sci-fi movie. Yeah, give me a good sci-fi movie every day of the week, and I would be completely content. Shannon asks me, thank you, Shannon, for commenting. He asked me, what is the most interesting concept that I would tackle if I were to direct my own movie, which is a lifelong goal of mine. And that's interesting, Shannon. I actually have an idea for a short film that I might try to tackle here eventually. It involves a horrifying twist and a coal mine. I actually live in Kentucky, if you guys didn't know that. We have a lot of creepy coal mines, and all good well, that's not true, but some good directors start out directing horror. And I love when a horror movie can tackle something that doesn't involve demons and monsters and still make them scary. That's kind of the idea I have for this first little stupid short film, but I can't do that until I can afford to get a camera, so I guess we'll see eventually. But down the road, I want to direct a thriller. All right, so Benjamin has a lot of questions. He has, what's my favorite franchise, trilogy, sequel, and what trilogies do I think will get better? I don't want to answer some of these because I'm going to do some lists eventually, but my favorite franchise, I'm going to cheat and say the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Y'all knew it was coming. Or Star Wars. And what trilogies do you think progressively get better? The best answer for that is the most recent one, in my opinion, and that is the Wolverine trilogy. You start off with a horrible movie, you have an okay middle movie, and then Logan is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. That is the prime example of a trilogy that gets better over time, and I'm so glad it did. And I guess you could say Captain America as well, although Civil War and Winter Soldier for me, come on, right there. Sir Beats asked me, who is my favorite YouTube creator? Oh, man, that is a tough one. Well, I used to absolutely love Rhett and Link. I've said it already today. Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman. Oh, man. Okay, if I'm going full body of work, not just YouTube, but what they do in terms of podcasts and YouTube and whatnot, I have a few for you. Collider, the movie reviewers that I've already mentioned, the fantasy footballers, Rhett and Link, and I'm going to put Mr. Sunday Movies at the top just because I listen to his podcasts every single week. I watch every single one of his videos. He always entertains me. He and Nick Mason, they're an absolute blast to listen to. I love everything about their channel, and although I don't always agree with their opinions, and I think this is the most important thing about one of your favorite YouTube channels, I am still entertained and I still like to listen to their points, and Mr. Sunday Movies is probably my favorite YouTuber. And my last question of the day comes from John Wick. How you doing, man? Still on the run? What do you think about a Marvel and DC crossover? Honest opinion, I don't want to ever see that. I think it would be too much. I mean, we're getting Avengers Infinity War and everyone's freaking out about the amount of characters in that movie, and we still haven't really gotten a great Justice League film. Let's do DC. Let's get that thing rolling. Let's get a few Justice League sequels. And then if you want to ask me about a potential crossover, that would be great. But by that point, we will have new characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and probably new characters in the DC Cinematic Universe. I don't think it ever needs to happen. It's one of those things, it's like you see it on a YouTube short film. Yeah, that's really cool, but I just don't think they can make a feature-length film, especially not at the moment. But the idea and the concept, yeah, it sounds awesome. And I believe that was my last question. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, getting through the entire thing, participating in my Q&A. I want to do more things like this, whether it's on the Stardust app or just on my channel in general. I appreciate the love and the support. I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end because I know it's a long video. But seriously, guys, you are the absolute best. Tomorrow I will be back with either a Rampage review or Isle of Dogs. Let me know in the comments below, which movie do you want me to watch first? I will catch you guys later.